Last night, the Colorado Buffaloes, yes, Coach Prime's team, the one that's been hogging up all of the attention this offseason, as they did last offseason, and some people have a huge problem with that, lined it up on national television and played their first game of Deion Sanders' second season. A lot of folks out there are now playing the double face game on this day after the game. There was a lot of people that said, oh, this was going to be a really, really tough game for Colorado. And I was one of those people included in that, by the way. But I happen to know a little something about FCS football and North Dakota State. Not a whole hell of a lot, but I did know enough that they were a good football team. But you have some folks out there today that are being rather disingenuous. Going into the game, you said this would be a tough game, and North Dakota State was going to provide a tough challenge, and Colorado probably wouldn't survive it. Coach Prime and that team doesn't have enough discipline. They're not tough enough. They don't have anything in the trenches to win that football game. Now that they've won the football game, we've got people today saying, look, that's an FCS team that they barely beat yesterday. I don't think they're going to be very good at all. I think it's going to be important for some of y'all to get that hate out of your heart. Colorado beat yesterday a damn good football team. I would say that team that they beat yesterday would be above 500 probably each and every year if they were in the FBS. Put them in the Big 12, and I think they would absolutely compete. Put them in the ACC, and I think they would absolutely compete. Big 10, SEC might be a different story. But North Dakota State, no pushovers. All right, let's give you guys some facts on some things as it pertains to North Dakota State that maybe some of you casuals, as we would call, might not know. But here's the deal. National championships in FCS for North Dakota State, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2017, 2018. You putting this all together yet? 2019. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We skipped a year. 6, 7, 8. 8 championships in 9 years, and then they won again in 2021. That's how they roll at North Dakota State. On top of that, you say, oh, maybe you don't have much respect for FCS and the fact that they've won championships like it's going out of style there. What do they do when they take on FBS teams? Going into this game last night against Colorado, North Dakota State had a record of 6-1 straight up against their last 7 FBS opponents. I think you guys need to give Colorado some credit for winning the game. Now, to start things off, the defense for Colorado did look shaky. North Dakota State went up and down that football field, and it looked like it was going to be tough sledding for that defense all night. With that said, you've got to give Colorado credit. North Dakota State went into the locker room with 20 points at halftime and proceeded to only score 6 points for the rest of the game. I dare say Colorado made the adjustments, which is what you want to see out of a good football team, an improving football program, improving football team, and a good staff making some adjustments at halftime. They went out, did that, came back out, and made things right. Only 6 points and just over, I believe, 100 yards. I don't have the stats right here in front of me, but it was a way better performance, in the second half for Colorado defensively than anything they were doing in the first half, and that's what you want to see. Just came into a season, as you know, Coach Prime is very, very active in the transfer portal, so you're bringing guys from everywhere. You're trying to piece it together. Folks, he took over a 1-win Colorado football team. Obviously, he came in, took a look at things and said, I don't really have what I need here. So there's going to be some roster turnover, and the best way to do that right now is in the transfer portal, and you're just bringing guys together. So you're going to be a little edgy and rough to begin the season. And that's exactly what they were in the first half. What was incredible to me was how quickly they turned things around. They started, putting the clamps on that running game, forcing the ball to be thrown downfield, and, really made things tougher for North Dakota State in that second half and allowed Colorado to come back. What I was also impressed with was the offense for Colorado. Now, we knew Colorado was going to be explosive offensively. Even in their 4-8 season last year, they definitely showed that ability to move the football. That was never really a big problem for them. You knew that with Shedeur Sanders at the helm and the playmakers that they had at wide receiver, Horn and Hunter to be exact, they were going to be able to do what they needed to do to get the football down the field. And if need be, we're going to turn this thing into, a complete shootout. You kind of knew that that might possibly be the case. They might need to do that in this football game. And that's exactly what they did. The numbers for Shedeur Sanders last night: 26 of 34, 445 yards, 4 touchdowns, and that 1 interception, which was as fluke an interception as you will ever see in a football game. Ball bounces off a defender's leg that's laying on the ground, pops up in the air for another defender to intercept. That's a clean sheet. I don't know what that is as a passer rating, but it has to be very, very high. So Shedeur Sanders comes out in game 1 and firmly establishes that I'm going to be in this Heisman Trophy race as we go down the season. Will Colorado win enough games for that to be the consideration at the end? Probably not. I did have a 5-7 projection on Colorado going into the season. I'm sure that's not what the folks in Boulder want, but that to me is a clean season. It's not what you're going in thinking and hoping about, but man, you've got a tough schedule here, and Deion Sanders is still trying to piece things together and get it the way that he needs to be. So when you're looking at a Nebraska, who's going to be a good team this year, that's next up on the docket. You've got to travel to UCF. Kansas State is going to be good. Arizona is a good football team this year. You've got Utah, always solid. Kansas is going to be a good team, and a lot of people think Oklahoma State has a chance to win the Big 12. Those are going to be very, very difficult games for Colorado to win. I did not come away from this game last night feeling any less about Colorado. In fact, I felt better about Colorado. I would dare say if I had to go back and make a prediction for them again, it would be 6-6, maybe not 5-7. I think maybe they pull out one of these other games that I had penciled in as potential losses for them coming into the season. The offense is explosive. They found an extra playmaker at wide receiver. Jimmy Horn looked even more explosive than he was last year. We know what Travis Hunter was, the unreal catches and plays that he makes. That guy just has a flair for the moment. But now they add to this guys like Wester and Shepard. Those are extra playmakers that are going to be there to, heighten the amount of weapons that Shedeur Sanders has as he goes into the season. I wanted to see a little bit more out of the running game, but they got into this track meet early, and so they couldn't really rely too much on that. They were really focused on getting that ball down the field. And to be honest, some of those coverages in the back half for North Dakota State did open up some possibilities. A couple of those cover twos left the middle wide open. And, of course, Shedeur Sanders found them. I thought the really good thing about Shedeur was that he got the ball out of his hand and knew where he wanted to go, was very decisive, and made the throws that he needed to make. Though Travis Hunter made a really great catch on that end zone fade late in the game, just the way that he got it out and knew where to put it was outstanding and should not be understated. So my thoughts on this is Colorado is going to be a solid football team this year. And if they went 7-5, I wouldn't be surprised. 6-6, if I had to predict it today, is probably what I would say. And 5-7 is most likely what will happen, but we don't know about some of these other teams. So for you haters out there that went into this game hoping and wishing and saying that Colorado was going to lose the game, and then they end up winning the game, and you come back today talking about you think they are worse for it, check yourselves. All right? Really, really check yourselves. I think Colorado's on the upswing here. Can't wait to see them next week against Nebraska.